So this, yeah, kind of intimidating Zealot force here. Nice. And he even pulls the probes off very nicely here. Right. Chew up some more Zerglings. Right, and you'll notice, these Zealots will probably die, but you'll notice right here, unit losses are actually looking pretty even. Even though there's just a lot of pressure here, it's not really been paying off for the Zerg. And actually, if we look at the economy still, or better yet, look at the income, give it a second to catch back up, we'll see that Kazz is actually way ahead. Right, 16 harvesters here. Doesn't really have the Vespene Geyser he needs, but he's actually way ahead. So this actually hasn't been hurting him. He's actually been doing very well. He's actually been winning, right? And the number one thing you gotta remember is when you're winning, you need to get more ahead. A little behind here, right? And here's the problem: he's not. These 500 minerals still aren't being spent, right? I've still not seen Stalkers come out, even though he finally has a Cybernetic Square, because there's no gas being mined, right? I'm still not seeing a third gateway. You know, if you're going to build 2, you might as well build 3. Ignoring any sort of crazy 2-gate play, which it's very clear Kazz wasn't going for. Instead, all he's sort of doing is pumping out these Zealots. And he's pumping out a lot of them. And while that is a good strategy, his opponent keeps spending Slowlings at him. Well, it's an okay strategy. It's not really going to help him in a second when these roaches get here. And in Kazz's defense, he has no idea these roaches are coming. Right? Like, he doesn't have a probe scattered around his base. Which is another thing, you want to keep that probe here, keep looking around. He doesn't even know that his opponent took a geyser yet. Right? Instead of running back with the Zerglings, he should have kept it in here. I think it's, yeah, it's over here now. I don't know why. It's not doing anything over here. Might as well send it right back in. But he doesn't know these roaches are coming. And even if he did know, he's on 2-gate. And strong roach play against 2-gate, especially 2-gate just Zealots, is going to fall apart. And we're going to see that in a second. Savali is doing a nice job of taking down this pylon. And notice another thing that sort of happened here. He's very close to being supply blocked. In fact, he will be in a second. Or he was a second ago, and he's going to try and build another pylon quickly to remedy that. So, a lot of resources here. If you're going to build 1 pylon, build 2. Heck, you have 600 resources. Build 3 pylons, right? Make sure you have a buffer so you don't ever get into that supply block circumstance. Now, that's not specifically why he's losing here, but it does hurt him, and he doesn't want that to happen. Protoss is one of those few races where really building 2 pylons at a time isn't a big deal. Even though it is sort of queuing up, and everyone says queuing up is wrong, don't worry about it, right? Queuing up an extra pylon, better than being supply blocked, which is what's happening right now. Also, you notice he sent these 2. Here, quick tip. Don't build a pylon here. Build it right here. Force the Zerglings to come around through your probe line so you can attack them. Buildings work very nicely as blockers, especially right between the crystals. Also, these 2, he sent 2 Zealots to chase around. If you take these other 2 and they were waiting right here, they could have really torn through these Zerglings. It only takes 3 hits for a Zealot to kill a Zergling. 2 if you have a weapon upgrade. Which brings me to the next thing. A forge would be a really nice thing to have right about now. In fact, just a forge and 1 photon cannon right here, or better yet right here, where there's almost no surface area, really would just help him tons. Also, you'll see we're about 6.5 minutes in this game. He has not harvested any Vespene. Right? We don't have any sentries coming. We don't have any stalkers coming. These Zerglings are never going to get caught. And if they had the speed upgrade, that'd be even worse, because then they just dance around, hit, and dance around. So this is actually not really all that great. But again, if we look at the resources lost and the current resources, Kazz is still doing well. The only thing is he hasn't planned ahead. He's been way late. All he's got is the 2-gate. He hasn't been able to get any gas because he hasn't been thinking about gas. His execution has fallen apart. And at this point, he really has lost the game. Even though the balance is sort of tipping back towards the Zerg, but they're still sort of even, there's no way he's going to recover from everything that's coming in here. All these roaches. He just doesn't have the forces. He doesn't even have the buildings to build the forces, even if he knew they were coming. right? He has completely lost it. All he's got is about 4 Zealots. And as I mentioned earlier, Zealots really don't do well against roaches. 5 Zealots. So this is about to be a slaughter right here, and we'll see in a second. Also, don't engage like this, especially not into a force of 6 roaches. This is really bad. Pull back, try and get some reinforcements, try to build out some more troops. Ideally, get some stalkers. And the other thing you'll notice here, still at about 600 minerals. Never really spent his money. He got this really nice economy going. Very powerful. All these harvesters and everything. But then he just didn't use it. And one of the things when we talk about macro, it's not just getting your economy up and running. It's also building units and building the buildings to build units. Those are both elements of macro, and they're both equally important. And we're going to see, little roach micro, completely unnecessary. But, if you're winning, you might as well have a little flair to it. There you go. And all of a sudden, those 6 roaches, or 5 roaches, 6 again, and they're just going to steamroll. And even if Kazz wanted to build stalkers at this point, he only just started getting gas. Only pretty much as soon as he saw these roaches. Instead of thinking ahead, thinking, oh, I need gas because that's part of my 3-gate. Or I need a 3rd gateway because that's part of my 3-gate. Actually, a 3rd gateway right here, make a nice solid wall. Would have been really nice for shutting down that Zergling play. He didn't think about it. He didn't do it. And now, as you can see, the wheels are sort of coming off the engine here. And he's lost at this point. Like, there's actually no reason to continue this. Let it go. Losing is actually a very stressful experience. And when you find yourself in a situation here where you've got, 6 roaches in your base, all you can build are zealots at a 2-gate, and probably reinforcements on the way, let it go. It's tough, I know, but you're only going to stress yourself out even more. And you see he's throwing down pylons to desperately prevent himself from being supply blocked as these roaches take out pylon after pylon. But even if they, just sat here in the front of the base and just waited for a couple minutes, Kazz still can't produce a force to stop them. Especially not, once the reinforcements hit. So there's nothing he can do here. And this is very stressful, trying to handle this crisis right here. And it's actually unnecessary because you won't ever win. And just let it go. When you know you're beat, let it go. It actually will help you out. You'll be a lot less stressed. You don't have to worry about crazy things like hiding probes. And you'll feel better about yourself as a person, and you'll feel better about the loss. Which is actually a tough thing. Losses are tough. We all know it. So, to sum up, execution, very important. Macro is not just about getting a lot of good economy, it's also about spending that economy. And don't waste the time. Another minute of your life, a game you know you can't win. And it's actually important to see this sort of aggressive Zerg style, because if you play on the Korean ladder, you'll see a lot of it. I assume this was North American. But this super hyper-aggressive Zerg, really, you'll see more and more of it. It's very powerful. But you have a plan and you stick with it, you can actually handle it. And you notice all that early Zerg action didn't really net the Zerg player anything. In fact, he had a smaller economy for most of the game. It wasn't until Kazz didn't spend or got too bogged down in dealing with that pressure that the Zerg player was actually able to get ahead. And eventually they'll find their way to this hidden nexus, which I think that's when he taps out. Yeah. So, this has been Scenes, doing another one of these breakdowns to try and help you guys out. And I suppose I'll keep doing them as long as people keep emailing me their replay. Thanks a lot. Bye.